All right, 10:30 now, WCSL in Cherryville, and time now for our community calendar and public service announcements. And today we have a program for you, very special program, very special guest with us today. I'm joined by Frank McClure from here in Gaston County. Frank, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Milton. Thank you for having me here this morning. It's a great pleasure to be here. By the grace of God, I'm 81 years old, and I'm glad to be here at the station with you this morning.
Yeah, Frank is a former athlete, author. I'm sure you do. Maybe you do speaking engagements. I'm not sure. Yes. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what all you do, Frank.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Frank McClure, and I'm 81 years old, and I have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, and I have 3 grandchildren and 4 great grand. That is a blessing for me to be able to see them at the to live during this time. And I was talking a little bit about my baseball history, and I had a good life, good history. And I started off playing baseball was at an early age, about 15 years old. Then when I was at my church in a place called Bowling Green, South Carolina, and I was inspired to play baseball by my dad. And he was always was instrumental in me playing baseball. So we started in my home church in Bowling Green, South Carolina. They had a little field back there where we would start playing baseball. As I started developing playing ball, and then went on into high school, and after training there, and I made the varsity team at 16 years old, and that really inspired me to go on to play baseball. So since I was at an early age and I understood baseball and learned about the Negro League, is what we had at that time, I had been captivated by both the powerful, gifted players in the Negro League, such as Jackie Robinson, Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, Willie Mays, Oscar Charles, and all of those players. That inspired me, along with my father telling me about playing baseball. So therefore, it was an astonishing thing to even to play baseball at that time. So I was so grateful to do that.
Did you meet a lot of the stars at that time? You mentioned Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige.
Well, I didn't get to meet them because they was a little before my time. That was in the Negro League was from 1920 to 1950. I played in a Negro League from 1962, and I retired in 1984. But I did get to meet Bobby Richardson. He played with the New York Yankees. He was a full-time All-Star. He and I was together in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, for an induction of one of my mentor, Nelson Peachtree. That was a pleasure for me to be with him, and he told me all about Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, and all those guys that we saw play baseball, and that was a great experience for me. And so he and we had a wonderful time together at that introduction at the All-Star. Bobby Richardson, I think he's still living from Sumter, South Carolina, with the New York Yankees, and that was a thrill for me. I had to compose myself while I was sitting there with Bobby Richardson, so it was a great time.
Now, tell us about how it was as a semi-pro player at the time, and integration had that come about yet at the time you were playing ball?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. What happened was this was late 1959, 62 when I started playing with the Negro League in 1964. There was not an integrated team there. And we was the first baseball team in that league to integrate. And I have in my book, and a guy from the sports writer from the Herald of York County, South Carolina, our team historian, whose name was Lewis Burris. We had the sports writer to come, and they explained to them I was instrumental in helping in the integration of our team, and we did integrate. And as we went on and years went on, one of the most powerful baseball players that we selected for our team was a Caucasian white guy. His name was Terry Thomas. He's still living. He's about almost 70 years old. He's right here in this area, Cherryville, North Carolina. He was one of the most powerful, prolific baseball players ever. We didn't look at the color of your skin. We looked at the skills you had and what you had to offer the team. And one of the greatest times in his life and in my life, and I was so glad that I recruited him for our club, my mentor, which was Nelson Peachtree, the one I was talking about at the Hall of Fame, they allowed him to use the Boston Red Sox farm club field. And so the semi-pro team, we traveled there and played there. And of course, most sports people know about the big green monster that's in Boston.
Yeah.
So they had a replica of that in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and he hit that ball all the way over
Yeah.
the green monster, and that was a great highlight for me and for him. And I was so proud and thankful that I was part of integrating our baseball team. There's a lot of other things did go on in that period at that time.
Yeah. And we're talking a lot about baseball, but you're also like an author. You're a teacher of the gospel, as I've heard you announce it, a teacher of the gospel. But you're in a town right here in Cherryville that's all about that baseball.
Yeah.
Do you come to some games in Cherryville? Do you?
I do. I've come to some of the games right there on the roadside, from the
Yeah.
football games and baseball games. Followed a lot of them. And let me say this about baseball as well. I have two persons that I mentored, and I know if people may know them. One of them was Willie Gillespie, the other was Elmo Hill. They were some of the greatest baseball players in Gaston County. And this is when you ask that question about coming to Cherryville, looking at baseball players. I saw a lot of guys go through here, and I followed during the time that y'all had the post Legend World Series, and that brings me back to those two guys. They were the first African Americans to play Legend ball. They were selected to do that in 1964. They went through a hard time, but they was great baseball players. Willie Gillespie in that particular league in the post Legend there, he hit about 419 average. Elmo Hill, he went on to be a professional baseball player, went on and played with Minnesota Twins, also played with the Baltimore Orioles. These are the two guys that I was their mentor, especially Elmo. When I went to New York and came back, started playing semi-pro ball, Elmo was about 14 years old. And I mentored him all the way up to he was almost 17 years old in high school. And he told me, he thanked me for that. And I have it in my book that he was thanking me for helping to mentor him. And I was so proud of him. And he's still living now. I talked to him about 3 weeks ago. He gave me a call and talked to him. But those two guys were the first African Americans to play Legend baseball out of all the ones. And Cherryville is a powerful baseball town. I'm telling you, you had a lot of athletes.
And this area, of course, Shelby, too, with the World Series over there, the Legion World Series. Gastonia has a great baseball facility now for a pro team, the Ghost Peppers. And so this is just a baseball territory around here. I've heard you speak in some interviews about the Jim Crow era. Explain how that affected you and other people playing baseball.
Yes. Well, coming through the Jim Crow era, of course, is as you know, even when I was in high school, we didn't have the sufficient things that we needed. We should get the books that was handed down from the white schools to us, and the pages was tore up. And I talked to another guy that I mentored named Robert Johnson, and we had tore up books, and we was trying to get our lessons. And his dad told us, "Well, I tell you what, don't worry about that. If your page is out of your book, go to another person, get that page, and get the book and get your lesson." So they taught us that. So coming through the Jim Crow era, it was really tough at times, but we persevered. We persevered through that. And our baseball teams, and we got up a team, we had to get the money to play baseball and do different things. And we have gone places where they wouldn't let us in. You had to go to the back door and get food and all that kind of thing. And that kind of bothered us in a lot of ways. So we saw a lot of things in the Jim Crow era, but those things made us strong. We persevered through those things. And this is what a lot of things in my book. I'm not going to go over all of them right now, but I have a lot in there. If anybody want to get the book, they can see some of the things that we'd go through. But after the Jim Crow era, this next book that's coming out in 2 weeks, it's called Not the Faith Journey, but a Spiritual Man with a spiritual mentality of forgiveness and all those things. They have a lot of things in there about the Jim Crow era. I hear my dad talk a lot of times as he was walking down the street. He would meet, especially a white lady. He had to turn to the other side and put his head down and walk through. So that inspired me to put some things in my book. I have 10 different things in my book of the laws of Jim Crow, what you could do, what you could not do. But God blessed us, and we persevered through that. And we were strong enough to overcome that. And like I say, with Terry Thomas, one of the Caucasians we had, you talking seen no color. I know he was white, I was black, but our hearts was together. So some of the things in the Jim Crow era wasn't good, but good came out of it. Made us better
Yeah.
people.
I've heard you speak of an incident where there was a cross burning.
Absolutely. There was a
Yeah.
cross burning in my yard at 14 years old. I'm glad you brought that up. I was working for a place in Clover, South Carolina. A lot of people know the place. I'm going to go ahead and call the name. It was called Howard Johnson's Restaurant. I used to, what we call hop curb there. He allowed us to have a job there. And so we would go there, and Howard told us, and now listen, told us, this is what he said, you black boys, we're going to give you a job. The only thing I want you to do is one thing. This was Jim Carrera. He said, never ever wait on a black person. You wait on all white people. If I find you waiting on white people, you'll be automatically fired. So that was in the late 1959. That's just the way it was at that time. Mm-hmm. So getting to that, I didn't have a driver's license. After I got off from work at 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock at night, he would bring me home and pick up truck. And nice guy. Brought me down the road, in the country road, and I went down the hill. We didn't, a lot of people had got electric lights. And I saw a bright light in my yard. So I went over the hill. I said, wow, I know we got our electric light. But as close as we got, I saw the cross burning in the yard. Mm. And there was a big cross burning in the yard. And I asked him, I said, what's this all about? He said, well, I don't know what that's all about, but just take it easy. Don't raise no kind of fuss about it. Mm. And we'll look into it. But that was the time that the cross was burning in our yard. And we tried to find out why did they burn a cross in our yard, and the perpetrators was never found. But it was a lot of speculation what it was, why the cross was burned there. One reason, our home had burned down a few years before that, and there was 3 children in that home burned to death. Mm-hmm. And what happened in that home?
I'm sorry.
When they burned to death at that particular time, the neighborhood, all the people in the community, people like Miss Ellie Fewer, Miss Massey Robinson, and Ben Wright's family, helped us to get money to build another home. And it wasn't a beautiful, beautiful home. It's a place for us to live because it's 14 in my family. I meant to tell you that earlier. That was 14 in my family. I'm the 11th sibling. Mm-hmm. So they helped us to build our home back, and it was a nice place. And somebody said, the Ku Klux Klan said, no, I just put it, no Negro is supposed to have nothing like that. And they burned the cross. That was speculation. Mm-hmm. And then there was another speculation that my dad, he was a deacon at the church, and somebody said that they thought he brought the money home from the treasury of the church, and that money was to be donated to NAACP, and they burned the cross in the yard. Now, that was speculation. Mm-hmm. But one of the most tragic things that happened at that time, we had 2 children burned to death, and that was a hard thing.
They were siblings.
Siblings, yeah. Well, it was my two sisters' children, my nieces and nephew. Okay. And we didn't talk about it for years. It was like a silent frustration. Mm-hmm. And when we started talking about it, this is why I wrote the books as well. I brought it out in my books, and my family began to heal. So when that cross was burned, it was just, we never found out why, but during that time, the Jim Crow area, it didn't want us to have some of the things it did. I just couldn't understand that.
And what year was this?
This was in 1954 when the house burned. Mm-hmm. And it was 1958 when the cross was burned, because I was 14 then. Mm-hmm. So that's when the cross was burned in the yard at that time. But by and large and all, a lot of the people, the Caucasians, they was nice to us, because we were respectable, but we didn't get out of our lane. We knew what the Jim Crow laws were, and we persevered in spite of all that. But I'm so grateful for that. At 81 years old, God blessed me, and I'm still here. I have children and grandchildren, and I had a lovely wife. She passed away in 2009, but we raised a family, and all of our children, they are just all except one graduated from college. So God has blessed us. We've been doing good and going on. And let me jump back to my baseball. I forgot about Bobby Kennedy. He was one of the mentors of my. I was his mentee, and he said that, I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'll let you continue. He told me I was the first person he ever seen, people play baseball, to make a triple play. Never see that. I made a triple play. Triple play. He was excited about that. He was a great baseball player himself, and had a great career. He and I, we almost tied at the end of the
Yeah.
season in home runs and our average. But I wanted to get back to that. Yeah, but the Jim Crow era was pretty tough at times.
Yeah. You're talking about your triple play. I announced baseball here locally for years and years. I don't know that I ever saw a triple play. They're that rare.
I made that triple play. I think it was on a Saturday afternoon, and if I recall, they had a man on second base, and the guy ball was hit to me. I caught the ball. Man on third base, he got off base, touched the base, threw to second, got him triple play.
There you go.
It was an exciting time, and he said,
Yeah, things just have to fall into place perfectly for
like you said, and I came to Cherub up here and saw baseball. Y'all had some awesome baseball players. What's that? 1998. What's his name?
Ralph Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah,
He's
Ralph.
one of the best hitters there were. He and Willie Gillespie and a guy named Ed Presser, some of the best hitters that I've seen in the Carolinas. And so Cherub produced a lot of good. So did Gaston County did as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after your baseball career, you say you played till 1984. Then where did you go from there?
Okay, in 1984, one of the reasons why I quit playing, I was going to do some coaching. One of my oldest son had a car accident, and he was thrown out on his head, and he wasn't paralyzed, but the head injury caused him not to use his arms. He's still living today. So I retired then, and after that, I began to focus on my spiritual life, and I was ordained a deacon, and I've been a deacon for over 40-some years. Led our deacons ministry for 20 years, and I began to teach the gospel of Jesus Christ. I teach 2 times a week. I teach one time on Irving Center, 6 o'clock every Tuesday evening from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and I do a call-in class, in other words, online class on Thursday, 6:30, 7:30. That's my passion, is to help the people in the community. I am a community person. I did a lot in my church family, but now I work in the community and try to help people. This is what I love doing, and just so glad to get the interview so people know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And you went to college? Yes.
Well, like I said, all of my siblings, it was 14 of us, and it was about 8 out of that. All of us finished high school except one, and about 5 of us went to college. I didn't go at the time because I got married early. Remember, I told you I got married early. But God blessed me. In 1967, I went to Gaston College for a couple of semesters. Best time of my life. I did get to go to college, so that is in my resume.
There we go. I went to Gaston College as well.
Is that
A little bit later, not 1967, but during the early 80s there. Yeah, so...
I'm sorry, I said 1967. Excuse me. I was 67 years
67
old when I
when
went
you
to college.
Okay.
And I was 67 years old when I went to college. That's what it was.
I got
I'm
you.
sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. You've settled down. You've been in Gaston County a long time.
Oh, yes. 70 plus years, sold here in Gaston County. And like I say, I'm still working in the community and doing things and trying to help people, young people. And my heart is about the widows and the orphans and the poor and the needy. I know a lot of times we get into congregation, getting on inside the doors. That's all we do. But we have to get out in the community and help people. I see a lot of children. You're talking about that's unfortunate. And I young men especially, try to get them, because I'm a baseball player. That was my heart. Try to get them and give them get a way to get them financed so they can get up, play sports, and make something of themselves.
Yeah.
That's where I am now, because I try to do my children the same way to make sure. And always the thing about it is be respectful. We have to be respectful.
Any other athletes in your immediate family, your siblings, or did you show athletic ability at a very young age and that sort of thing?
Yes, at a very young age, I did show athletic ability, and all my brothers played baseball in high school. Well, most of them played baseball in high school, and basketball. Basketball was the first thing that we played. Unfortunately, the year I graduated from high school in 1962, and they got the football team in 1963. I missed out on the football team playing regulated football, but they get to play baseball and basketball. But yeah, my brothers and sisters played basketball. Even my sister Doris, my late sister Doris McClure, she played basketball, and niece Barbara Helen also, and my brothers played baseball. Funny story, I made the baseball team at 16 years old. My older brother was on the team playing. I think it was right field, and I went out for right field and took him out there to put him catching. I was a little bit better athlete than he was, and they put me playing right field. So we had a good time doing that. One time, my brother was catching. My nephew Charles Mason was pitching, and I was playing third base. We had a crowd of people looking at that. So that was called a family affair in baseball.
There you go. Time. Yeah, absolutely. Sounds fantastic time. Baseball is it's an expensive sport to play in that the gear you need, the locate, you got to get the location, you got to get there, especially when you're playing in like the semi-pro leagues or whatever. There's a lot of expense that you incur playing baseball.
You're certainly exactly right. And this is what I said a moment ago. We had to have things like fish fries, hot dog selling, and different things like to make money to buy our equipment, our baseball uniforms and things. And we had some great people on our team. Our president of our club was named James Robert Adams. Our treasurer was Louis Burst and Bobby Kennedy, and all of us. We would get together and we would have a fish fry. And one time we had what we call a dance one time. And in that was way back, and that brought in about $900. We bought new uniforms. We hit the field with green and white stripes on, people just looking in amazement. Yeah. But we had to get down in the dirt and get down and raise that money. The people in our community knew that, and they started contributing to us. Yeah. So that helped us to, where we would travel. And eventually we bought a bus to travel in. Not a big time bus, but a bus that we would go to our baseball game. But it was kind of difficult to get money to get that done. But a lot of people were so kind to us to help us to do that. And as you will see in my book, there was a fan that wrote, say, was certainly glad that we had a baseball team called the Bowling Green Hornets there in our community, because we had men on the team that was married and they were respectable people. And the guy said in the interview, said, "Thank you, Hornets, for you all showing us integrity, and now we have our families. We're going to walk in the footsteps that you all walk in." So we made that impression on them. And I've always told a lot of our young players, what lies ahead will always be a mystery. So don't be afraid to explore.
Mm-hmm. All right, good quote to end on there. It's been wonderful having you. Been very enlightening and informative, and just appreciate so much you coming up and talking with us today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mills. I thank you for having me here, and I look to come back again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, all in one there to you.
All that back to you. Thank you so kindly.
Okay, thank you. All right, Frank McClure, our guest today on this special edition of the Community Calendar and Public Service Program, and we will be back with you here in just a moment. Don't go away.